Wait, this isn't random. You were just about to move on from something, almost convinced yourself it didn't matter anymore. But something interrupts that thought. Not loudly, just enough to make you pause. I keep seeing this moment where you notice something small. A glance, a sentence, a detail that wasn't there before. And suddenly, it changes how you see everything. I don't know why, but it feels like someone who's been holding back is about to stop doing that. Not in a dramatic way, not all at once, but in a way that feels undeniable. Like the truth has been sitting just beneath the surface, waiting for the exact right moment to rise. For some of you, this isn't even about them. It's about you realizing what you've known all along. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's quiet, but it's powerful. Like something behind the scenes has already been set in motion, aligning things in a way you didn't expect. The timing feels almost too precise, and that's when it hits you. This isn't just a moment. This is the doorway into something completely new. A version of your life you've only let yourself imagine in fragments. And now it's stepping closer. This reading is meant for a specific someone who needs to hear this right now. Let's get into it. Like the path didn't just appear. It shifted slightly and you felt it before you understood it. There's something about the silence around you right now. Not empty, but holding its breath. Like air that suddenly stills before something is said that can't be taken back. I keep noticing this quiet tension. Like words have been sitting just beneath the surface, unspoken, but no longer able to stay there. And it almost feels reversed. Like someone who used to speak easily is now hesitating. Or maybe it's you pulling back where you once reached forward. I'm picking up on this strange distance. Not physical, but emotional. A pause that wasn't planned. Like a thought that gets interrupted mid-sentence and never quite lands the way it was meant to. There's an image that keeps flashing a flame that won't catch, just flickering. Not gone, but not steady either. For some of you, this is where things start to feel uncertain, where doubt creeps in quietly, not loud enough to confront, but present enough to shift your perspective. And yet, underneath that hesitation, there's movement, subtle, almost hidden. Like something is trying to realign itself before it can move forward again. You're not seeing the full picture yet, but you're starting to feel that something isn't sitting the way it used to. And it keeps coming back to that same pause, like you try to move past it, but something pulls you right back into it again. There's a heaviness now, not sudden, but settled, like weight pressing into the ground, refusing to lift. I keep feeling this slow, grounded pressure, like something has already ended in a way that hasn't been fully accepted yet. You might notice how your thoughts loop, circling the same question, the same moment, replaying what was said, or maybe what wasn't said, and it lingers longer than it should, like your mind is trying to find a version of it that feels different, but it never quite does. There's something that doesn't quite settle here, like you're standing in a space that feels familiar, but no longer fits. A shape you've outgrown, but you're still trying to stand inside it. And beneath all of that, there's this quiet resistance. Not loud, not obvious, just enough to keep things from moving forward. Almost like holding onto something that's already loosened its grip on you. I'm seeing this image soil packed too tight to break. Nothing new pushing through yet, but something underneath is shifting. And the longer you stay in this loop, the heavier it feels. Like you're being asked to notice something you've been avoiding, but you're not quite ready to look at it directly. There it is, the part you kept circling around but never fully let yourself sit with. It's quieter than you expected, but heavier, like air finally moving again after being held too long. You might not say it out loud, but there's something you've been carrying, and it's starting to feel harder to justify holding onto it the way you have been. I keep noticing this shift. Not outside of you, but inside, where something just lands. No resistance, no overthinking this time. Just a quiet knowing. And it's been sitting there for a while, hasn't it? This sense that what you've been giving hasn't quite been returned the same way. Or maybe it's not even about someone else. Maybe it's about how much of yourself you've been pouring into something that's slowly been draining you. There's an image that comes through a weight slowly slipping. Not dropped, not forced. Just no longer held as tightly as before. And it's strange, because part of you still wants to hold on to make it make sense. But another part is starting to loosen its grip without asking permission. You're not fully stepping away yet. But you're not standing in it the same way either. And that shift, however small it feels right now, it's already beginning to move something forward. It's strange because the moment that weight starts to loosen, something else becomes noticeable. I keep feeling like this isn't just you sitting in this shift. There's another presence tied into it. Not loud, not fully visible yet, but there. Like breath you didn't realize you were sharing. Air moving between two spaces instead of one. And it lingers around that same moment you've been replaying. Almost like whatever you've been processing has been affecting someone else just as quietly. You already know who this is. It's in that familiar pause, the one that feels intentional even when they pretend it isn't. There's something about the way they hold back, like someone standing just out of reach watching, measuring the moment before they move. You've probably noticed how they don't rush into things, how silence seems to follow them, not because they have nothing to say, but because they're choosing not to say it yet. And it lingers, doesn't it? That feeling after they leave, like something was almost said, like their words stopped just short, and you're left filling in the rest. There's an image that keeps coming through hands that almost reach, then stop. They show up in subtle ways. A glance that lasts a second too long, a shift in their tone when it's just the two of you. But then they pull back, like they've crossed a line only they can see. It's in the way they think before they speak, or decide not to speak at all. And you feel it. That unspoken weight sitting between you both. But something's changing in them. Not loudly, not in a way you can point to yet, but it's like they're getting closer to the edge of saying what they've been holding back. There's a shift here. Not loud, not sudden, just something that settles into place without asking for attention. It feels different, like a steady presence that doesn't move even when everything else feels uncertain. You might notice how this energy doesn't reach, doesn't hesitate. It just is. There's something about the way they show up, quietly, but fully, like hands that follow through without needing to promise anything first. They don't interrupt the space, they ground it. And it's subtle, the way your body reacts before your mind catches up. That sense of ease you didn't realize you were missing. Like standing on something solid after being off balance for too long. They don't fill the silence with questions. They don't pull back from it either. They stay. And that changes something. Because where things once felt uncertain, this feels clear. Not overwhelming, not rushed. Just present in a way that doesn't make you second guess. There's an image that comes through, something rooted, unmoving, even as everything else shifts around it. And you might not fully understand why it feels different yet. But there's a moment coming where their presence becomes more than just noticeable. Something small, something simple, that quietly changes the direction you thought you were heading. It's starting to feel like this can't stay where it is much longer. There's a point coming where that silence, that hesitation, doesn't hold the same way it used to. Like air that won't fully stay still anymore. And somehow both of them are tied into that moment. One still lingering at the edge of something unsaid. The other already steady, already present. It almost feels like, at some point, one small action or word shifts everything. Not loudly, but enough that you'll feel it the second it happens. Wait, there's a shift here. Something just moved. It's subtle at first, like a sudden break in silence, but you feel it immediately, before anything is fully said. Something comes in and it changes the space. You might pause, not because you understand it yet, but because you notice it. There's a weight to it, like words that have been held too long, finally pressing forward. Not perfectly, not clearly, but enough to interrupt everything that came before, and it doesn't feel small. It feels like something that wasn't supposed to happen yet, but couldn't stay contained any longer. I keep seeing this image movement that wasn't there before, like a line being crossed quietly, but permanently. It could be the way something is said, or even just the way someone shows up differently this time. And it catches you off guard, because it doesn't match the pattern you've been used to. There's a hesitation in you, like you're trying to decide how to respond or whether to respond at all. Because once this is acknowledged, it doesn't go back to what it was. And that's the part you feel, even before your mind catches up. Something has started here, and even if it looks small on the surface, it's already shifting the direction of everything that follows. It doesn't come in quietly. You're in the middle of something, thinking, moving, maybe even trying to distract yourself, and then something shifts mid-motion, like a moment that stops everything without asking. You go still. There's this pause, where your body reacts before your thoughts catch up. Maybe you stare a second longer than you should. Maybe your hand just stops, because it lands differently than you expected. Not rushed, not scattered. It's steady, almost too steady, like something that knew exactly when to arrive. And it's not what's said right away, it's how it's held. There's a presence in it, like words that don't spill out but stay, like a quiet tide rising without force. I keep seeing this something rushing in too quickly, but instead of chaos, it settles. That's what throws you, because you were bracing for hesitation, for distance, for that familiar pullback. But this doesn't pull away. It meets you, and there's something about that catches you off guard more than anything else. You might feel it in your chest, that slight tightening, like you don't know whether to lean in or step back. Because once this is acknowledged, it asks something of you. Not loudly, but clearly enough that you can't pretend you didn't feel it. And now, you're here inside it, whether you're ready or not. For a second, everything feels quieter, not empty, just clearer, like a slow return of breath you didn't realize you were holding. It doesn't all make sense at once, but something inside you settles differently now. You start to see it. Not perfectly, not all at once, but enough that it stays with you. There's this feeling, like something opening under pressure. Not breaking, just shifting its shape. And with that, a kind of awareness you can't quite push away anymore. Because now, it's not just about what they did or didn't do. It's about what you feel when you're in it. And that realization, it lands gently, but it doesn't leave. You might notice how your thoughts slow down for a moment, like you're trying to place this new understanding somewhere familiar, but it doesn't quite fit there anymore. There's relief in it, and something heavier too. Like recognizing the truth doesn't fix anything, but it does change how you stand in it. And now there's this quiet pull in two directions. One part of you still holding on to what was, or what could be. Another part, already leaning somewhere new. You don't decide anything here, but you feel it. And that feeling, it's not something you can unknow. It doesn't feel the same anymore. Even if everything around you looks unchanged, something about this changes how you sit with it. You might notice you can't just slip back into the old rhythm. Like a space that once felt familiar now feels slightly off, and that's where it lingers. Because now, staying where you were doesn't feel neutral anymore. There's a quiet pull forward, and another that still looks back. And somewhere in between, something in you already knows. You won't be standing here much longer. It almost feels familiar, doesn't it? Like a road that stays steady beneath your feet. Something quiet but structured, where you already know how to move, what to expect, how to hold yourself inside it. You might find yourself leaning toward it without even realizing. Not because it pulls you strongly, but because it doesn't disrupt you. There's a kind of ease to it. It doesn't ask too much from you, at least not at first. It gives you something to stand on, something that feels controlled, contained. Like you can keep things in order, keep your emotions from spilling too far into the unknown. And after everything that just shifted, that makes sense. Because part of you wants to steady yourself again, to place your feet somewhere that doesn't move when you step. There's an image that comes through ground that doesn't shift. Firm, reliable, already shaped. And there's comfort in that. In knowing you could stay within those lines, follow what's already been built, and nothing would feel out of place. But even as you feel yourself considering it, there's a quiet awareness sitting underneath. Like you'd be choosing something that works, something that holds. But maybe not something that fully expands. And then there's this. Something you didn't mean to notice. It doesn't feel as steady, but it pulls at you anyway. Like a path opening into unknown space. Not fully formed, not clearly marked. And still you keep glancing back at it. You might not have planned for this. It doesn't come with the same sense of control. There's no clear outline, no guarantee of how it unfolds. And yet, there's something here that feels alive. Like movement without clear direction, but movement all the same. And it lingers. Even when you try to focus elsewhere, it stays at the edge of your awareness, quietly asking something of you. There's a flicker in it, not overwhelming, but enough to make you feel something shift inside your chest. Curiosity. Maybe even a kind of anticipation you can't fully explain, but it's not comfortable. There's hesitation here, a sense of stepping into something without knowing where your footing will land. And that alone makes you pause. Still, there's something beneath that uncertainty, something that feels like possibility. Not guaranteed, not promised, but present. And even if you don't fully trust it yet, you haven't stopped thinking about it. It's still there, that hesitation. But it doesn't feel as loud now. Something about this isn't as tangled as it was before. The thoughts that kept circling, they slow down just enough for you to breathe in between them. You might notice the urgency softening, like you don't need to chase an answer the same way. And in that space, something starts to settle on its own. Not fully clear, but not confusing either. Just quietly beginning to make sense. It starts to feel a little lighter. Not all at once, just enough for you to notice the difference. Like a slow breath returning, deeper than the ones you were taking before without even realized you were holding back. There's more space here now, where that pressure used to sit so heavily. And it changes how you hold everything. You might notice how you're not gripping it the same way, not replaying it with the same urgency. The thoughts still come, but they don't press as hard. They pass through a little easier. There's an image that comes through space opening, where tension was. Not empty, just quieter. And in that quiet, something steadier begins to form. It's subtle, but it's there. A kind of calm that doesn't need to explain itself. Like you're starting to trust your own footing again, even if you're still figuring out where you're standing. You don't feel as pulled. Not in every direction like before. There's a small sense of independence growing here. Like you're remembering what it feels like to exist in your own space, without everything depending on what someone else does or doesn't do. But there's still a part of you, watching closely, not fully relaxed, not yet, just aware enough to know you don't want to fall back into what it used to feel like. It's subtle at first, but you can feel it starting to move. Not in a way that demands your attention, more like something finding its rhythm again. Small shifts, almost easy to miss, but they build. One thing falls into place, then another, and suddenly it's not as stuck as it was. There's a quiet steadiness growing here, like a foundation strengthening beneath you. Not dramatic, not instant, just more solid than it was before. You start to notice how you respond differently, how you don't spiral the same way, how your energy holds a little more shape. And it doesn't feel forced. It's like things begin to work with you, instead of against you. There's an image that keeps coming through a door, easing open slowly, not pushed, just naturally giving way. And with that, a sense of confidence starts to form. Not loud, not fully defined, but real. You might catch yourself making small decisions without overthinking them as much, trusting your first instinct a little more than you used to. It's not perfect. There are still moments where doubt flickers in, where you question if it's really shifting or if it'll slip back again. But even that feels different now, because underneath it, something steady is holding. And for the first time in a while, it feels like this could actually go somewhere. It doesn't weigh on you the same way anymore. There's a softness here now, like open space where tension was. Not empty, just no longer crowded with everything you were holding before. You move through this differently, even in small moments, even in ways you don't fully notice right away. And that changes more than you expect, because you're not reacting from that same place of pressure. You're responding from something steadier, something clearer. There's a kind of calm that doesn't need to prove itself. It just is. You might catch it in the way you pause before answering, or the way you don't feel the need to chase what once felt urgent. It's subtle, but it's real. There's an image that lingers air that finally moves freely, carrying things forward without resistance. And with that, a different kind of confidence begins to take shape. Not loud, not forced, just grounded in the way you hold yourself now. You've come through something, and it shows, not in what you say, but in what you don't carry anymore. There's still a small part of you, watching, making sure this feeling holds, not fully trusting it yet. But even that feels lighter, because now, you're not standing in the same place, and wherever you step next, it comes from a version of you that knows how to let go without losing yourself. It really has shifted. You can feel that, and I don't want to interrupt that. But there's something here I don't want you to miss. It's small, almost easy to brush past, because things feel lighter now. But it shows up quietly, in the moments where you start to doubt what's already working. You might not notice it at first. Just a thought, a hesitation that lingers a second too long. And it doesn't take much for something small like that to pull at what you've just begun to build. It's still there, even now, underneath everything that's opened. Not loud, but familiar. There's a part of you that pulls back right when things start to feel real, like something pulling back at the last second. You might notice how you almost move forward, and then hesitate just enough to slow everything down. And it feels reasonable when it happens, like you're just being careful, just thinking it through, making sure you don't make the wrong move. But it stretches, that pause. A pause that lingers a little too long, thoughts circling without landing anywhere solid. And it shows up right when something begins to work in your favor. That's the part that's harder to sit with, because it's not chaos. It's subtle, quiet enough that it doesn't feel like it's getting in the way. But it is. This could mess it up, not in a dramatic way, Just enough to delay, to create distance, to make you question what you already felt. And it's not new. You've felt this before. That moment where something shifts, and instead of stepping into it, you step back just slightly, like you're waiting for certainty that never fully comes. And in that space, things don't fall apart, but they don't fully move either. So here's where this shifts for you, because that hesitation, that pause that stretches too long, it only has power when you stay still inside it. And I keep seeing this image a step forward into uncertainty. Not reckless, just decided. Here's what I want you to understand. You don't need to feel completely ready to move. That's been the pattern. Waiting until everything makes perfect sense, until you're sure you won't get it wrong. But that moment doesn't come the way you think it will. The clarity comes after you move. Even something small. Even something that feels almost insignificant. It breaks that cycle. It tells your mind we're not staying here anymore. And it's not about forcing a big decision. It's about choosing differently in the moment you would normally pull back. When you feel that hesitation, that instinct to pause and overthink, that's your cue. Not to stop, but to take one step anyway. You're not meant to stay stuck here. There's a path opening slowly ahead, and it responds to movement, not perfection. So trust the part of you that already felt the shift. That part knows. That's all I have for you. I hope you found this insightful. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It would mean a lot to me. I'll see you in the next reading.